This is Neechi Commons, located in Winnipeg's North End, and it is the heart of the city. It's a workers' cooperative where the people who work here own and operate the business. Now, unfortunately, in recent times, Neechi has faced the threat of closure, and we still don't know the future for Neechi yet. But what we do know is that the heart and soul lies within the people who come and work here day in and day out. So we'll talk to the employees, find out their thoughts and feelings about a business that has supported the Indigenous community for almost 30 years. The working model for Neechi goes back to the mid-1980s, where it existed on a very small scale as a grocery cooperative at 325 Dufferin Street. But as the community grew, so did demand. And the idea to expand and move was a simple one at first.
We were a little off the beaten track, and we certainly served the neighborhood, and we thought that being on the main avenue, Main Street, would be we'd be far more visible, and our sales would grow and be far more helpful.
The new location on Main Street, named Neechi Commons, was built in 2012 and was a groundbreaking state-of-the-art facility housing mixed retail, office space, and social amenities. It worked as a social enterprise and created at first high expectations from the community to provide greater financial stability.
Neechi represents, in some ways, a typical social enterprise in that there's the technical requirements that any social enterprise has, and it usually comes down to money. You need the money to pay the staff, to buy the product, to do the advertising. You know, you just have to have that. And right from the start, Neechi was burdened by a huge debt issue. So in some ways, it didn't get off to a running start like some social enterprise. That's in this location, Neechi Commons on Main Street. When it was run off the Dufferin store, it was smaller, it was manageable. It was really a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into the operation, and that's why it was successful at that size.
We saw incredible poverty. We saw our, families, children going into care and being raised outside of the community, and we wanted to try to stop that. And we recognize that a lot of that kind of crisis is totally related to poverty, and you cannot heal without looking at healing the economy. And so we thought, if people are spending their food dollars here, they're helping to heal the economy. Like, we're taking charge of our local economy, and we're saying it's important to have access to good food, and it's important to support local producers, and these things are really important things to do, and they still are. Even if Neechi shuts down, they still are important things to do, and people have to be really conscientious around what they're consuming and how they're spending their money, because it really matters. It does matter.
Neechi was successful in achieving greater community objectives by bringing in special products and produce from out-of-province vendors, creating more job opportunities, and expanding their training programs for Indigenous youth. But it wasn't enough to balance the business scales.
I think a lot of people would want to know the human side of the Neechi story, because when you get right down to it, Neechi is a totally irrational venture in a way. It's impossible. It is the mission impossible, because what they tried to do, and many social enterprises try to do, is blend that social set of objectives, the community objectives, with the commercial objectives. And that's a very tough balance to maintain. When the people sell product here in Neechi, they want to keep the prices low. That's to meet the social objective of bringing food to a depressed neighborhood of Winnipeg's North End. On the other hand, we have to, or they have to pay for the salaries, pay for the electricity, pay for all the other things. So it's a really tough balance. Every day, the staff here, the management, have to balance off these incredible difficult decisions. But that's the nature of social enterprise. And that's why I come back to the human element. If it wasn't for the driving optimism, the absolute spirit and commitment to community, these enterprises wouldn't exist. They couldn't. It just takes so much. I would say that, you know, people that are here, you know, put in those literally 27 or 24/7 hours and days because of the requirements. So it is critically important to understand just the human dimension and what goes into the background to a social enterprise like Neechi.
At first I was job hunting, and then I came across to this 6-month program where they would teach you how to work in the bakery, the grocery, the restaurant, the art store. So I got the full-on experience in each station or each area, which I really enjoyed, but especially in here because the artists. I like listening to telling us about their work.
You get a lot of experience, you learn stuff every day. This is what other things like walking around or, you know, this is something different where you come, it's more hands-on.
Specialty? I think the people, to me, they're really well to get along with, easy to work with. And the food, I guess. I like the whole atmosphere of the place. It's a little homey, it's enjoyable to be around. Everybody makes everybody feel good.
It means so much because I gained so much experience in the work field and providing for my little girl. I brought my little girl to the store here, and she's amazed. She's amazed that I'm actually working and doing stuff around the store. She just asks us questions about this place.
The potential closure of Neechi Commons, I think, is going to be devastating. It's going to have ripple effects. It isn't just the closure of a commercial enterprise. It's the closure of a community development enterprise. And I think it has exercised some of that potential. It hasn't exercised all of it, but the people here in the community will know that they've lost something. Many times I've talked to people here and they plead to keep Neechi going. They know of its importance in the neighborhood. So that will be a serious loss to the community.
An integral part of Neechi Commons is its retail art space in Neechi Niche. Here, local artisans bring in their work to sell on consignment, adding whatever they can to their livelihood. If Neechi closed their doors, it would be traumatic.
The artists won't have anywhere to bring their work because there isn't anywhere else really to bring your work in this area. And that's important because a lot of the artists don't have vehicles and they're walking or busing. I mean, it'll take away from their income. It'll take away from that little bit extra that they depend on every month, or, you know, because they call all the time, right? Is my stuff sold? Am I selling things? I think it would affect them quite a bit, and it'd be sad. It'd be sad to see them, and it'd be sad to see them all take their stuff out. I wouldn't even want to be here for that. That would just break my heart.
Wishful thinking that it's not wishful thinking, because this store is awesome. I like being here all the time, every day, and greeting the artists, greeting the customers, showing them new things, showing them different stuff that is coming into the store on the daily basis. It will break my heart.
You know, the Neechi experiment, the Neechi enterprise also is going to be a very valuable model and lesson for the community. There'll be a lot learned from it. That's why I really rebel against anyone who calls Neechi a failure. It is not a failure. It is a model that's going to be replicated. It's going to be an enterprise that's going to be built again, probably. Maybe in a different location, maybe different products, but it will be the phoenix rising from the ashes. That's the nature of social enterprise. So it is a loss to the community, unfortunately, but at the same time there's so much to be learned from here. If you can just think about the number of young people that have got jobs here and have really got a footing into the employment world, that in itself is very powerful. The number of events that have been held here and how people have really took ownership of Neechi Commons. All of that will never die. The memory of it, the impact that it's had is incredibly positive. So there's loss and potentially new growth coming out of the Neechi.